Welcome to Small Biz Life, episode 129, 5 myths about small business websites.
Oh,
And you may notice this is so we're trying something different with the podcast. We are actually recording this live on YouTube Live. So this is actually on air on YouTube. And we're going to do this probably for 3 or 4 weeks on YouTube to kind of get this under our belt. Because our goal is that we're going to take this, and it's live video, so you'll actually be able to see the two of us when we record this. We're going to take this and actually unedited put this up as the podcast. We'll put the intro and the outro. So if you're listening to this, you're going to notice hopefully a new intro that we're going to record after we finish this. But on YouTube, or eventually we're going to move this to Facebook Live, there will be no intro and no outro. It'll just be us. So we hope that you enjoy this. Let us know if you're watching this on YouTube. Let us know what you think. The format of the show is basically going to be the same, but you're actually going to be able to interact with us, and you're going to be able to watch live if you want, which is cool. So we're going to be doing this usually Mondays or Tuesdays or Wednesdays. We're going to figure out a schedule for it. Oh, okay. So, all right. So why don't you jump in? So we're talking about 5 myths of small business websites. Let's talk a little bit about
myth number one.
Yeah, let's talk about item number one.
All right. The first thing I think that I really want to talk to here is this idea that you need to explain your business completely on your homepage. I hear this a lot. And where it's truth that you need to make an impact immediately. There are many different strategies you could take on a homepage. The strategy you do not want to take on your homepage is to try and explain everything. This is a fallacy, much like my avatar is everyone. It's like you end up explaining nothing to anyone because you just either overfill them with information, or it's so long they never get to what they're looking for. So the idea is use your homepage to explain maybe what you do overall, but you're not trying to cover everything you're trying to do. But more than likely, you're trying to use your homepage to drive them into whatever your current sales process is. So if you are trying to sell a product, you're trying to use something to capture their attention, speaking to your avatar in that to drive them down a sequence to get into your funnel. Yeah, that's one I do hear a lot, where it's like there's this, and I don't know where it comes from, this belief that you have to explain what your business is and everything that it does all on one page. The reason you have a website is to do just that. If you need multiple ways to bring people on, that's where you come up with landing and splash pages. You have a services pages to talk specifically about services. But ultimately, the job of a homepage is to welcome someone onto the site who's coming there probably for the first time.
So really, isn't the point of the homepage to help people get to the pages that you want them on? Like your services page, like your,
it could do that. Yeah. No, that's something it can do. Usually you're going to have like a menu system, which people are very, very familiar with at this point, where you're going to have a well-named services page, a well-named about us page, or a company page, whatever works. But the thing is, you're actually still on the homepage. You're trying to introduce probably what I would expect is a cold person who got your URL from someone or heard about you and is going to check out your site. You're trying to capture that cold traffic, the coldest possible traffic you can get right away. Other people are probably going directly to your blog, or they're going to they're being driven straight onto a splash page. So this is, if you're meeting someone for the first time, how do you want to introduce yourself? So think about, like, as in a conversation, I want to say this to you. That's what my homepage should do, and limited scope to that. Because that's why you see all the hero sections now on a lot of marketing sites, where you have this big splashy spot at the top, which is a case study, or it's something to try and drive you into their funnel, and they might have a little bit underneath it. But really, the thing is, how do you introduce yourself in a conversation? That's really what a homepage does, is how do you introduce your business?
Well, I think a lot of times when I go to people's home pages, there's so much stuff on that page that I don't know where to go.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why, I kind of asked you about that. You really want to think about how you want people to interact with your site and where you
Mm-hmm.
want them to go.
Yeah.
Because, it's kind of like you only want to have one call to action in an email. You really only want to have, one call to action on your homepage.
Yeah.
Where are you directing people? How are you funneling them through your website?
I think one of the better layouts I'm seeing now is sort of the one big hero section, as they like to call it in Kajabi, and then underneath there maybe three things. But it's very limited. These are the few things that we think people are going to want to interact with us the most. The hero section is what we really want you to interact with us the first time you're there. Whether it's taking them to your content, taking into the sales process, whatever, the first thing you want them to do is that's the main part. And then underneath there, you give them a couple other options. Like for us, the top thing isn't getting to the podcast. It's getting into, I believe, the focus funnel. But when you go beneath that, then there's an easy way to get into the podcast and a couple other areas.
Okay, that makes sense. Okay, so the second myth, and actually the second and the third myth are actually really closely tied together. Myth number 2 is advanced marketing websites are too expensive to set up. And myth number 3 is they're too difficult to DIY. So it's like you're screwed, right? Because you don't have the money and it's too hard to DIY. So I'm just not going to do it.
Well, yes. And to be true here, there is some truth in that. The amount of skills you need to have to really do everything, you need copywriting skills, marketing skills, graphic design skills, programming skills, web security skills. There's a lot of skills you'd really need to do it all yourself. And if you hire someone to customize the site for you, it is going to be really expensive. Even if they use some tools sort of merged together to get to what you want. However, the problem is there's a middle ground that you can find where for a very low cost, you can actually get into create a new web design and that is scalable out. So you can kind of grow with it as you get larger. You can easily outsource portions of it as you get bigger, or hire someone to deal with certain aspects for you. But simple enough to where you can definitely eliminate the programming skills. You could definitely eliminate a lot of those needs, just by creating, what we like to call in the business, the correct stack of tools for you, which can vary, but like typically a lot of times businesses, I think, start by looking at WordPress as a solution because it's a content management system that's free. And I do like WordPress. We use WordPress along with Kajabi in our business. But there is a theme for it, and it is paid. I believe it's $19 a month. And that might be the annual fee. There's a link to it in the show notes, or if you go to smallbizlife.com/focus, it'll take you to
/thrive.
/thrive. Yes. I'm so used to saying the other one. So it's smallbizlife.com/thrive. THRIVE. That will take you to explain a little bit more about this. It's literally a point and click system. It can do a lot. There's themes that can integrate with even e-commerce sites like WooCommerce. And it's point and click, so you can sort of drag and create the pages you need. You can do landing pages. You can do pop-ups. There's any marketing scheme you need, you can do in there.
Okay, we need to go back. Hold on. We need to go back.
Okay, let's pull back for a second.
You're getting complicated here. Okay. So I think the first thing is, so most people say, well, WordPress is free. So why do I have to pay for a theme? Okay, so the database part of WordPress is free, right?
And there are free themes.
The structure. And there are free themes, but these free themes are not going to do, they're not going to get you that amazing site that you want.
And they won't have everything you need. You'll need programming skills to compensate, or find 100 plugins to work in to slow down your website to be able to get all of the same tools.
Right. And so that's what happens is I think people they're like, okay, WordPress is free, so I'm gonna install WordPress and I'm gonna get the basic theme. And wait, it doesn't look the way I want. It doesn't do what I want. It doesn't have all the cool things I want.
It looks just like a blog, which isn't necessarily what you want a business website to look like.
Exactly. And so people get really frustrated and they're like, screw this, I'm done.
Yeah.
Okay. And I don't have the money to have somebody do it. Something like Thrive Themes, I have built websites on Thrive Themes. Okay. And I'm a CPA. So yes, I like tech. I don't know how to code. I can drag and drop things.
And it's conversion based, which is what I really like about it. It's ultimately about conversion based, which if you're a business, ultimately your thing needs to be conversion. Your pages need to do what you've designed them to do.
But the cool thing with Thrive Themes is that it has all of the things that you need built into it. So like we talk about squeeze pages and landing pages. Those are those pages where, when you go to the page, it doesn't necessarily look like the website, but the point is to get you to either opt in or buy a low cost product. You can do all that with Thrive Themes.
The other thing I like with Thrive Themes too is it has some built-in templates, but you can also build your own. So if you need something slightly modified, you can save it and reuse it. So you can really sort of customize and then store what you're doing. And if you have no clue on this new squeeze page where to start, they have some examples of things that have worked through Thrive Themes that are built in that you can kind of upload and then you modify it as you need it, just by pointing and clicking and adjusting a few little things to get it in to look like the way you want it to look like, so it fits in, so your website doesn't look all mishmash, especially the pages that are connected by links.
Right. And then, I think the other thing, is that if you want to have like pop-ups on your page, like we've talked about, or you want to have, those pretty boxes where people can opt in, like that's all part of Thrive Themes too. So the really cool thing with it is that it is a complete system for a website. So you're not looking for a theme and then a plugin to do this and a plugin to do that. You're still going to have plugins on your website. But I find with Thrive Themes, we have a lot fewer plugins on those websites than if the website was built with something else. And
it's designed to work together, where sometimes you get a plugin and something changes and it interferes with a different plugin. And then you have to either figure out how to load them in differently or replace it with something else. So it alleviates a lot of headache. It alleviates a lot of maintenance. And it's simple. It's pointing, clicking, dragging.
So here's the thing. So you've got, WordPress is free. Thrive Themes will cost you about $20 a month. We use HostM for our hosting. And the reason that we use HostM is because they're part of the free SSL project.
Yeah. Let's Encrypt.
So, you're going to want to have an SSL certificate on your website. We've talked about that, I think, before. And
this one is I like so well. We can't get an affiliate with them. They don't have an affiliate program. They try and keep their margins as low as possible, so they don't have affiliates built in like your Bluehost. But especially like a lot of your older ones, they try and sell you what they call shared SSLs, and those things are lousy. They're not very good, and you're sharing them with other people. So I don't like those. You can get a stronger one for free. And actually, HostM, you just sort of email them. They'll set up the certificate. You don't even have to know how to technically do that part of it. You just have to ask them once. They set it up once. It's there. And then, you do have to make a few tweaks to WordPress, but they'll walk you through how to do that too. I'm sure they have very good help. They'll probably even change it for you if you're starting for the first time.
Yeah. So and I think HostM, starts at $10 a month. And then
it's $8.95 if you do monthly, I believe.
Okay. And then it gets cheaper if the longer out you pay.
If you have the longest one, it's like $3.95 a month.
Yep. Okay. So there's that. And then Namecheap is what we use to buy our domains. And domains are going to cost you like $10. Okay.
$10 a month. You might struggle to get a .com these days, but people are starting to get more familiar with .bizes, or sometimes even other countries' ones like .me that people like to get things set up because it sounds like .me. So
IO is actually, I'm seeing a lot of tech companies.
A lot of IOs for application style stuff I'm seeing get put up there. There's a whole bunch of more types of domains now. People they're starting to get more used to seeing them, at least in the URLs. I'm not sure how well people react to them in emails, but definitely in URLs, they're doing much better. So,
okay. So, and then the last thing is to get something like MailChimp so that you've got an email service. And we've talked about that in other podcast episodes. So I'm not going to spend a lot of time talking about email. But so here's the thing. So if I kind of add up, if you get HostM for your hosting and you get the $8.95 package and you get Thrive themes at $20 a month.
I think it's 25 if you don't do the annual deal.
Okay, so 25. So we're really talking about $35 a month to get everything that you need for your website, your email, your domain, your hosting, and a really cool theme that's going to do a lot of stuff for you.
And the cool thing is too, is if you're like us and you'll sort of collect a couple different websites over time, I believe you're licensed for 25 sites for Thrive themes for the basic package. I want to verify that because those things obviously change sometimes over time or whatever. So,
but it is multiple sites.
It is multiple sites right now. Last I checked, like yesterday, it was 25 sites for the basic plan.
Awesome. Okay. So if you think about this, you're looking at about $35 a month. And here's the thing. If you can't pull together $35 a month, you are not ready to have a business.
No. Yeah.
Because the stress of cash flow.
Yeah.
The stress of
cash flow. If you can't cash flow that, you're in trouble. Yeah.
So, really make sure that, like I said, if you can't pull together $35, you are not in the right mindset to be a business owner yet.
Yeah.
Okay. And I know you probably don't want to hear that, but I'm seriously, okay. You need to pick up an extra job, save up some money so that maybe you can pay for like a year of these things. Or you need to get out there and you need to sell something real quick so that you can pull together some money. But $35 is not a lot of money. And if you're not willing to commit to something like that, you're not ready for this. Most
definitely.
Okay. So that was 2 and 3. Okay. So myth number 1 was homepages need to cover everything. Myth number 2 was advanced marketing websites are very expensive to set up. And one of the things I really like about Thrive themes that we didn't mention is they have great training. And they actually talk a lot about the marketing aspect and using their tools to do marketing. So in addition to getting the theme, you're also getting a lot of free training with them.
And here's something to beware for people who are hiring people to do this for them. A lot of times people who build websites are either good at the marketing side or they're good at the website side. Once again, there's lots of different skills you need to do those things. And if they're smart, they're subcontracting out certain parts of it. But you have to make sure that if you are actually going to outsource this kind of work, because you do have a bit more of a budget, that the people who you're dealing with have marketing and design in mind, because it's more than just design, and it's more than just marketing. Websites, there are multiple things, which is one of the things we'll be talking about in HQ this month. So.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, I would totally ask like, hey, are you writing the copy? And that's one thing I think if you are outsourcing a website, I think a lot of people don't understand that, like, typically if they hire a programmer, the programmer is just going to build out the structure of the site. You still need to write the copy.
Or give them copy.
Yeah. And a lot of times you also have to give them images. So, I think when you get into a design project like that, you really need to make sure that you read the contract and you have an understanding of who's providing what. And if they are providing the pictures, make sure that you know where those pictures are coming from. Because some not reputable graphic designers will actually pull images off of Google that you do not have the right to use. And then you might get a cease and desist letter with a huge bill for using somebody else's work.
Yeah. And, as a developer, I used to be in this scenario where I didn't do content. I would put together sites for people, but they had to deliver content. I would tell them this, it would be in the contract, but yet whenever I get to that point, there'd always be issues because they're like, what do you mean there has to be words? Well, there doesn't have to be, but it's not going to really do anything for you without words.
Right.
If I put your hours on there, yippity-doo-dah. What do you do? So, You
And that
know,
was always the
understand who you're
hardest part.
hiring and realize that their skill set isn't limited, because if you're outsourcing and you can afford to outsource it all, you might need marketing and web design. You might need a few different pieces. But if you're on a budget, you need to take advantage of the time you have and say, okay, for $50, I'm going to put $50 aside for the website a month. And I'm going to buy a couple tools right up front that I know I'm going to need, and I'm going to do it myself. And I'm going to use YouTube or get a course from someone here or there to help me get through this, because I don't have the budget to do something good. But the thing is, if you get something like this set up, as you get larger, you don't have to then spend $20,000 a few years down the road to get a good marketing website, because your website's so bad. So it'll bite you later down the road if you don't do it right away. And this way you can get something that's scalable, that can grow with your business.
Right. Okay. So myth number 4, you get a boost to traffic when you launch your website.
I'm not sure where this one came from.
Yeah,
I've heard this around. I've seen a few different people like, I've just launched my website and no one's coming. So I don't, obviously it's not going to work. That's the opposite of the truth. Websites become more relevant as they change over time.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so obviously there's stuff with keywords and all that stuff gets worked in there. But one of the basic things with SEO is the longer a domain is indexed and Google sees changes happening on the website, that makes it more relevant. You know, like if you work a website for a year and then never update it again, it'll start to lose relevancy later on. But, you know, if you have a website and you just launch it, even if you spent like $100,000 that great SEO worked into your site from the beginning, it's still going to be very limited because it's new. It doesn't have there's a lot of things it doesn't have when it launches. When your website launches, it's worst SEO ever. Mm-hmm. Hopefully, unless you do something really bad. So avoid bad things.
Yeah, but I think, and this is true, I think, with anything that people launch. And I know we've had this discussion before, where people are just like, oh, but I put it out there and people will come. Yeah. You know, I was talking to somebody last week. You know, there are a lot of people who are in the craft space who think like if they put their stuff up on Etsy, they're going to make $1 gazillion versus putting it up on their own site. Etsy is just a tool. It's a shopping cart. You still need to drive traffic to that site. You know,
Etsy more so.
There is a chance that some people will find you on there, but that chance is small.
I mean, I would imagine you have a better chance of being found on like Amazon Handmade, because more people go to Amazon and search for stuff than go to Etsy to search for stuff.
Right.
You know,
exactly.
Amazon's like a shopping search engine.
Right.
But again, there's so many more people there that it might be hard to be found that way too. So, you know, ultimately, no matter what you do that you're trying to sell, part of your job is to drive people to the place to buy it.
Right. And so that's the thing. So a lot of times people are like, well, my website is useless. It doesn't do anything for me. And I say, well, what are you doing to drive traffic to it? And like, well, it's online. And I hired somebody so that it would show up in Google. And
yeah, like, and I'm sure they submitted it, which is probably exactly what they told you they're going to do. We'll submit it to the search engines for you. And if you go down to page 832 under the keyword that you selected, that might be, you know, somewhere around there that you show up, maybe even better. You know, well, it's surprising sometimes, but
typically what I see is people like, look, when you Google the name of my business, it comes up on the first page. You're like, that's great if people know your business already. You know, and
you know, if you're a Russell Brunson or you're a Brenda Bouchard, that's awesome.
Right.
You know, no one's going to Google Ingram Digital Media.
Nope.
Maybe if you go to Google Small Biz Life.
Yeah.
Maybe. But it's our job to get the name in front of them, to get the URLs in front of them, the things to click to get to the site.
Right. So, but that's the thing. So, you know, if you're hiring somebody to work on SEO that's telling you, oh, I'm going to make sure that your business name shows up. Well, who cares about that? You know, I want to show up for my topic or for what I do, or like if I'm a local business, you know, my location and what I do. That's what I'm trying to do.
If you got an extra like $60, create a new website with the name, something unique. Go put it out there. Don't submit to any search engines. Go back and Google it in 3 months. Google the name. You'll find it.
Yep. Yeah, absolutely. Okay. And so, can we do another myth? Because this is one I think people are still doing.
A bonus myth? That seems
okay. All right. Well,
insane.
let's do number 5 and then we'll do a bonus myth.
Okay.
So, myth number 5, you need to wait until your website is completed to launch it.
Okay, this is one I really don't like, right? Websites, the algorithms in Google and Facebook change almost daily, if not more than daily. And it's usually like little tiny tweaks here and there, but over time, those add up. You will be making and working on your website for as long as you have your business. And for some of you, that's frightening because you don't like that part of it. The good news is you can kind of start to outsource or hire employees to deal with that as you get bigger. But here's the great news. You don't need every page done. You probably need very little. You probably need a splash page with a way to get people an email to start. Then you get a homepage built. You get your first funnel built. Maybe if you do content as part of attraction marketing, you start creating some posts there. But as you get things out, you just reveal them. You can do little mini launches every time you do it. Hey, the blog's live on our new business website. Hey, this is now live on our new website. So you don't need it all. So the thing is, where some people I know kind of don't want the website anyway, you have to have it in today's business. But the good news is you don't have to have it all ready when you launch. My thing is you need to be probably 30 to 90 days out. And if you're going to really get into like Facebook marketing with ads, probably 90 days out, you need to have stuff there so you can start trying to build up an audience so you can properly use Facebook ads. But if you're not using Facebook ads and you're just going to maybe do attraction marketing, probably 30 days to your product being able to be sold.
Okay. And I like what you said in the show notes. Websites should stop being under construction when a company closes. Stop using under construction pages.
Just don't reveal it.
If you've got something like, if you buy Thrive Themes, put up a landing page with an email opt-in, and that's the thing. It's like, so if you're doing this for the first time, maybe what you should do is figure out what your email opt-in is going to be. And we spent a lot of time talking about that in Small Biz HQ last month. Figure out what your email opt-in is going to be and throw up a landing page with the opt-in. And start building up your email list while you're getting that site. But don't put it high. We're under construction. Come back later. Because you know what? Nobody's going to come back.
They probably don't come back even if it's constructed.
Right. So that's why, the email list is so important. Okay. So the bonus myth, and this is one I still see a lot of people doing. This was a big strategy like 10, 15 years ago, is stop, myth. If I buy, I'm a superstar contractor in Kalamazoo, Michigan.com. Okay. That is going to help your searchability. Or, auto repair Los Angeles, California.com. Google got really smart about that.
Really fast. Yeah.
Really fast. And there are still people that they don't have their business name as their domain. They have something that's descriptive to what they're doing. And that's more important not really than the location anymore.
Yeah. But that's actually more important than location. Location really doesn't do anything for you anymore, I don't think. But there is still some evidence that having, sort of the LSI, type of keywords in your domain name can help. So if there is some relevance there, that Google will kind of give you a chance, but you have to deliver on the content. Content's still going to be the best thing for SEO.
So what's LSI?
Oh, geez.
You can't use these terms and then,
So LSI is a website that you can use to where you can do quick searches to find similar sort of synonym stock keywords that show up in search result pages.
Okay.
So
that makes sense.
So essentially it's kind of a cool website. You can do like 3 searches a day. You can put in a term and it will tell you terms it can find in SERP pages, search engine result pages, that actually have that are closely tied to it. Typically have more words, which are also good, because sometimes they can give you a little bit better terminology. You can kind of mix them in on the page to get similar but not exactly the same style of words to help boost up the SEO of a page.
Okay, so that makes sense. So if this is something that you are working on for your business, if you're working on your website, either a brand new website or you're trying to improve your website, this month in Small Biz HQ, we are going to spend the entire month talking about websites, improving your websites, navigation, improving your design. And we talk about design, we're not talking about look necessarily. We're looking at the functionality of a website. So that's really where Jeff's
the LSI, the latent semantic index and keywords will be one of the things I talk about and showing a tool on how to use that.
Cool. So you can join Small Biz Life. It is $49 a month. You can go to smallbizlife.com/HQ to learn more. And we'd love to have you with us. So thank you so much for joining us for this first live edition of the Small Biz.
I really hope the audio comes out good.
Yeah, hopefully the audio will come out good. And you'll definitely want to check out our YouTube channel. You can go to YouTube and search for Small Biz Life. You can also go to smallbizlife.com, and we've got a link to the YouTube channel there as well. So thank you so much, and we'll see you next time.